I'm going to make my morning coffee. So I've recently bought this LaPavoni machine. I've had it for a few weeks now. I normally use the Decent. I've bought this machine. It's going to go in my van because it uses less power and it takes up less space, a bit lighter. So this morning I'm going to show you how I make my LaPavoni shot, or make my coffee using the LaPavoni. I'm going to make a Mocha. It's sort of like a cappuccino cross Mocha. Anyway, so I'm going to film it in first person view, and to do that I'm going to use my mountain bike helmet with my GoPro on the front. That way you can see what I'm seeing. So I'll slip that on and we'll head over here and we'll get started. I'm using the Decent Espresso machine and the app here, and I've got a profile which I created. I call it LaPavoni, and it doesn't do anything. It just basically runs time so that I can record the scale reading. So anyway, I've loaded that profile. What I'll need to do is change my scale to the lunar scale. So just once I start that, I'll go into there, select. Okay, and I'll just give that a second or so. There we go. Scale reporting. So I'll just make sure there's no false pressure in there. So let's just steam that off. New scale on there. I'll grab a cup ready. Okay, so the first thing I've done, I've weighed out some beans here. The scale's drifted a bit, so I've weighed out 14.8 grams is what I use. And this is the little Lagom Mini. Got in there. And we'll let that grind. Now that grind is a little bit slower than the P64, but it's a brilliant little grinder. Works really well. And tastes great too. So anyway, while that's going, we'll get this portafilter ready. We'll dry that off, and we'll grab our funnel. Okay, so I've got this little cake decorating plunger here that we use as a bellows, and it works really well. So I'll just keep going with that until I can see there's no more grinds coming out of the grinder, and then we're done. Take that, give it a rattle on there just to make sure there's no grind stuck from static in the container. And I'll set that back, and we're done with that. Now I've got a couple of different tools here for using the wedge distribution technique. So just giving that a good fluff up. I don't get too many clumps with that grinder, so that's pretty good. But I do that. I prep the puck the same each time anyway. So now I'm just trying to get that as even as I can. And one of the things I like about the LaPavoni with the 51mm basket, the small diameter is easier to distribute the grinds and get it fairly even in comparison to the 58mm. Okay, so that wasn't great. Normally I'm a bit better than that first go, but anyway, we'll just give that a bit of an even up. I use one of these tools, distribution tool, and this is a set pressure tamper. It's a double spring tamper. So I'll give that a tamp, put my screen on, and that's now ready to go. So what we're going to do, I'll put that in the group. My temperature's up at 90°C. I usually like to start around 85. 90's okay as well. If it gets much hotter than that, I'll try and cool it down. I am going to get a what they call a bong spacer made by a guy named Bong, and it goes between the group and the boiler and insulates it so that the group doesn't heat as much from the boiler. Okay, so I tighten that in. I've got my scale, make sure nothing's touching to interfere. And now I'm going to start my profile. And this is what they call air buster. And I've modified my air buster a little bit. So what I've done is I've changed the pin and I've put a spring in there. So mine is held closed normally. And to open it, I hold that down. And that lets any air out above the puck here as it's filling up. So I'll show you how that works. What I'm going to do is start running the profile. Now that's going through a heating stage, so as that's heating, I'll hold that down and get it ready. And I'm just going to start at the same time so that my timing lines up with the graph. Right, so that's started now. And I'm holding that down, lift the heat lever up. And a bit of water spurted out, so I know that's full of water now. So now I'm doing a pre-infusion. And I'm just going to wait there till I get a few drops in the cup. And that way I know my puck is saturated. So I've just got a little drop there, a couple of little drops. We'll go to about 0.5 grams. So it's 0.2. Right, so that's close enough. Now I'm going to pull down that lever. I'm going to get that down to, well, I'm at 8 bars there, 8.5, 9 bars. Now I'm going to look up at my graph and just check my flow. So now I'm going to back off the pressure and try and maintain a pretty constant flow. Okay, so now my lever's right down. My shot's finished. So we've got 38.6, 38.7 grams in there, so close enough to 40 grams by the time it drips a bit. And I'll stop the profile. Okay. So I'll just take that out. That's my espresso shot. I'll set that aside. Now with the air buster, I can release the air out of here. If I took that off now, because of the pressure in there, they'll just spurt coffee grinds everywhere. So I can push that down. If I lift the lever a little bit first, it just releases some of the pressure a little bit. So when I push that down, I don't get too much water spurting up there. I can press that straight down. I'll get a bit of a spurt. Either way, it doesn't matter. So once that's down, let's take release any pressure that's in there, and I can take that out. And I'll just sit that on the sink and give that a clean. Okay, so that's ready to go. That's my puck. This screen will just come straight off. So puck's not too bad. We could look at that more. Dump it in the puck bin. Okay, so I'll just give that a quick rinse. Give the shower screen a wipe. Okay, so we've finished with our espresso. Now we're on to steaming. So we can set that aside. And we're finished with this as well. So I can finalise that. And I'll put that scale back. So when my wife uses a Decent, it's ready to go for her. Okay, so we can see now that scale is connected. It's got 20 grams, 22 grams. If I tear it, it's teared. So we know that's connected okay. Right, I've pre-filled my milk jug, so there's about 150, 160 grams of milk in there, which is about what I use for this shot. The first thing I'm going to do is just make sure there's no water in my steam one, so give that a quick purge like that. And this tip is quite noisy, so I apologise in advance for that. So I'd probably sink it about now if I was making a latte. I like a cappuccino, and I'm going to sprinkle some chocolate on top of which is Mocha. So I'm going to suck a bit more air in, get a bit more foam. So I'll keep going there. Now what I've done is put a temperature sticker on the side of the milk jug here, so you can see that now it's come to 55, and as it comes to the next stage will be the start of 65. So as that starts to go green, it just fills with green, and I'll turn that off, and that's the right temperature that I like. So it's a bit more consistent, I find, than using my hand to gauge the temperature. I find this is slightly more consistent, so I like using that. It's good. Okay, so that's not really a latte milk because it's a bit foamy, but I like that texture for my coffee. So I'll pour that in. You can see there's way too many bubbles for a latte, but you can still get it to work like that. But anyway, we're not after the art for that one. I'd like to have one of those milk jug rinses where you press on the top. That'd be pretty neat. Squirt the water up into it and flushes it out. Okay, so I'll use this drinking chocolate, made by Victoria. They do a dark chocolate version as well, so I just did this over the sink, so I'm pretty good with it. So anyway, that's my my mocha, or it's almost a semi cappuccino mocha, I guess. So I put that on there. I've got a little pipette here, and that little bit of water that I get in there, so it's probably about 2 ml in there. Anyway, I'll just clean that out, put that lid on there. So one of the advantages of this air buster is we can take this, there's a little bit of spacer in there, we can take that out and we can wind that screw down, and that screw holds this down. So then I can put a blind basket on here, and when the water fills in, this path is open, and I can attach a tube onto the, take that nipple off and put a tube on there, and I can flush water, do a back flush through it. There's no ring in there, so that all seals up and the water just flows through the ball. So it's I really like the cleaning facility of it. So anyway, we can turn that off. It's important to know with the LaPavoni not to open it up when it's under pressure, which will good chance of burning yourself. So if you need to open that up, I just run the steam off. And then I would open it up. But anyway, we'll leave that as is. And another thing to be aware of with LaPavoni as well is when you first turn it on, make sure the lever's down. I've done it before where the lever goes up over time. When that pressure drops down, it causes a vacuum in there, and the vacuum causes the lever to suck up, to open up, and you get air come through. And then if you go turn it on while the lever's still in the up position, that path is open, so as that water boils, it all overflows, and you get water everywhere. So something to be aware of. Anyway, that's my graph there. We can turn temperature off. We didn't record any temperature at this stage. Maybe later. You can see here I extracted that at a 1.5 mil per second flow rate. And my infusion time, there's a few drops there from where I wobbled the scale at the start, where I bumped the machine and got a few spikes. But anyway, so I can record that now, and I can use the other features of the Decent app. So we can use Enrico's describe your espresso function here, and I can write notes about how that tastes. I need to set that up to the right grinder and that, so I haven't done that yet. And then I can look at it in the history later on as well and compare flow rates and infusion times and so forth, grinder settings. So anyway, that's my morning coffee. Cheers.